a lot of guys want to know how to get a girl, right? By walking up to her, knowing how to say the right things just to get a girl, right? And I want to explain to the listeners, I want us to explain the difference between going up to someone and just cold approach, just going up to someone and being able to just get a number, right? Versus understanding a woman's choosing signals, or as Robert Glover says, indicators of interest. So what's the difference between a cold approach and understanding women's choosing signals?
First of all, a cold approach is definitely something a nice guy wants. Outside of all the different types of males, a nice guy is going to want the cold approach all the time, right? The guy who's never dated like that, right? He's going to want like the baddest girl at the party or like the baddest girl at the club, right? So what his thinking is that, okay, I have this outcome that I want and I better get it when I do this, right? And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't go that way. So they develop a fear of rejection, right? So they'll go up to a woman, they'll talk to them, and then they'll get rejected somehow, right? And then it'll become like a very self-limiting belief in their head where it's like, yo, no one wants to be with me, or like no one likes me, right? So I feel like cold approach is very outcome-based, where it's like, okay, you do this, you're going to get this outcome. Or you do that, you're going to get that outcome. Right. Don't do this, do that, because that's going to happen. Whereas the other method of just talking, right, it's very natural, because when you're talking to somebody like a female, you know, you're trying to take her on a date, you're not talking to her any differently than like how you normally talk to people. You're talking to her like a normal person, right? Nice guys and bad daters, they think that there's some kind of way you're supposed to talk to them, right? Like
the outcome, you're supposed to talk to them because you need to get something from you. You need to get the number. You need to get the date. Yeah,
and then they get so drained when they don't get it, right? Whereas you should be open to rejection. It all stems from a fear of rejection. That's the biggest self-limiting belief in like the history of the world. You could say for every situation in life, not just dating, it's everything. Fear of rejection is the biggest factor.
It's a self-limiting belief. It really is. Yeah. And then so like choosing signals is like you don't just go up to somebody or go up to a woman. You know that she's giving you like a green light. Like, yes, like I actually want you to approach me by, you know, for example, she makes eye contact with you, or for example, she, you know, comes closer to you at a gym or at a public place. She'll get closer to you, or she'll laugh at your jokes, or she'll, you know, kind of put her body towards you. So if you see the choosing signals or indicators of interest, that's kind of a better way to approach a woman rather than just going up to her, because I don't even imagine how many times a woman gets approached when she doesn't want to be approached. For guys, that doesn't happen to us. We usually don't get approached.
Yeah, we don't
like that. No, we don't.
And you know why that is? Because women don't have game like that. Like, women are very bad at spitting game. And it's because they've never had a reason to have game. They just get approached like 24/7, right? There's so many simps, there's so many beta males just constantly approaching them. So they're like, yo, I don't need to learn this shit. Like, I can just show up and get whatever, right? Yeah, so I feel like for men, it's when women approach you in a certain way, like, they're not gonna approach you in like a dating fashion. Like, they're always just gonna try to talk to you as a friend. Yeah. But you have to realize that if the conversation is going like smoothly, it's a choosing signal. It's like, okay, like, she likes in my company. Like, I should probably keep doing that and see where it goes, right? But the main goal for the guy is to like get to the rejection as quickly as possible. Like, seek the rejection, because if you don't seek it, you're not gonna get the outcome you want. Like, in terms of like, you know, okay, like, you probably want to sleep with her, or like you want to date her, right? Get to that like this, like, okay, what's up? Like, you know, what are we doing here? Like, get to that conversation as soon as possible. Because if you keep dragging it on, you're gonna get friend zoned. I feel like that's kind of the biggest fear for like all the nice guys, beta males, where it's like, I want this kind of outcome, so I'm going to do this. But you're already in the friend zone if you're doing things to please her like that. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, that's true.
I mean, we all have our simp stories. It is what it is.
We never got to simp. We'll have to get to that on part 2, because that's another word that gets thrown around, right? So okay, so we kind of got into like choosing signals versus cold approach, and we'll get into more of that. Honestly, we'll get into more dating essentials in part 2, because I think it would be interesting to kind of just, have a full conversation on dating essentials. There's so much in there.
Yeah, no, we
There's
can't
so
even
much
touch
in
on that like
the
way we want to.
But lastly, let's talk about hypergamy, because I think hypergamy is a fun one because, it's something that we can all understand. Hypergamy is what? It's basically just being able to increase your value, your sexual market value based on your life situation, right? Like what situations would that be?
First of all, I think hypergamy is the definition on Google or like the dictionary is marrying into an higher class. That's the definition of hypergamy.
Really?
For people watching.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we put that into our modern like society and stuff, it's about seeking the best person for yourself. Like in terms of like the highest value person to be your partner. You know what I mean? So and I feel like a lot of people are hypergamous, men and women, but I feel like a lot of women are definitely hypergamous. So what did you ask again? I forgot.
Like what things make you hypergamous? I feel like if you have a car versus not having a car. Yeah. If you have your own place versus not having your own place. Or you have money or, a blue check on Instagram. Yeah. These things make you more hypergamous, and that makes you more valuable to somebody or more interesting or more desirable. Right.
Because nobody wants to date a bum. It doesn't matter like how, like what you have. Like at the end of the day, like nobody wants to date you if you're a bum. Right. And it goes both ways. But at the same time, it's like that hypergamous to a lot of men, I feel should be subjective. Like, because a lot of men think that, once I get this nice car, once I get this nice house, once I get like, all these chains and stuff, that's when I'll get women. But it's like, that's just subjective, bro. You can get women now, right? So I feel like hypergamy does play a role from the women's side, but from the men's side, it's like you shouldn't be focused on like, I need this car, I need that. Of course, you should have stuff for yourself, but it's all subjective in your head.
The thing about hypergamy is, you might, by having a nice car or having your own place or having higher status on Instagram, for example, it'll increase your like pool of people that desire you, but it doesn't necessarily increase your chances of getting someone so much as, your confidence, your level of being alpha, your red pill awareness. So, I think hypergamy is important to understand, but like you said, it's not, you shouldn't rely on your level of hypergamy in terms of just the way you live. It's just one way of looking at your total like situation, but it's not something you should rely on or depend upon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I agree with you in that sense. You know what I mean? You can still get a girl if you live at home or if you don't have a car. It's you know what I mean?
It's all subjective, right? Because I feel like men know about hypergamy that it exists. Like the girl always chooses that guy over him. Yeah, and they always apply like, okay, like I gotta get like that or I gotta get like this, right? So it's like that's all subjective, man. At the end of the day, like this we'll touch on this on the next episode, but there's only two answers from a girl. It's either yes or no. Right. And if it's like she either likes you or she doesn't like you. Like there's no in between. There's none of that. It's either she likes you or she doesn't. And if she likes you, she'll show you. Right. She'll always message you. She'll always want to spend time with you. She'll always like be hitting you up to do stuff. Right. If she doesn't like you, she's gonna be ignoring you, ignoring all your texts, leaving you on red. These are all these are all things you should be socially aware of. Whereas like I guess like the bad daters and like the nice guys, which I used to be like this, right? Like that's why I'm talking about it. Yeah. They like we wouldn't know. Like it's like we didn't know that okay, she's leaving me on red. Okay, that just means she'll talk to me later. But it's like it doesn't work like that. Like she's leaving you on red so she sends you a signal. Because I feel like a lot of women are also non-confrontational, right? So by leaving somebody on red, it's their way of showing you that they're not interested versus straight up telling you, yo, I'm not interested.
Always on our phones. Like
we're always on our phones.
You see the message as soon as it
no
comes
excuse.
up.
I don't care who you are, what you're doing. There's no excuse.
So it's like choosing signals show us when someone's interested, but on the other end of it, you can also see when people are not interested, and you should be able to be aware, to know, and to acknowledge that as well. Right. You know what I mean? So you should know both sides of it. And honestly, and if it's a no, it's like it's a no. Like it's not the end of the world. Like for nice guys and bad daters, they think that a no is like it's like death, right? It's like, oh my God, I failed. Like it's over. Just move on to the next girl. Like you know what I mean? Just abundance mindset. Right?
You gotta have an abundance mindset all the time. And we'll touch on this after. But abundance mindset is basically about knowing that there's enough for everybody. Enough opportunities, enough everything in the world for you to get.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people don't have that. It's like you've heard the term half full, half empty glass, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So abundance mindset is looking at it from a half full. Like the glass is half full. So it may be a little empty, but like there's still enough for me. You get what I'm saying? Versus the scarcity mindset is like it's half empty, like there's not enough. I need more. Right? So having an abundance mindset, you just know that there's always opportunity. It's just about you seeking it out. Right? And putting yourself out there. And it all begins, I always go back to this, with finding out who you are. Right?
100%.
Because if you're a nice guy, you don't know who the fuck you are. You're a chameleon. Right? You're blending in with everyone everywhere you go. So you don't know who the hell you are. Right? So once you start, that's the number one step, I would say. Start with that. Find out who you are. Find out what you want in life. And where you see yourself in the next 5 years. Once you answer those questions, then you start to like, okay, like don't even worry about women if you're a nice guy. Like it's not gonna happen because your mentality's in the wrong area.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, right? So you gotta fix that first. Then you'll naturally attract women.
Yeah.